Before we go any further, just want to thank all the people over on Patreon, because without their help, none of this upgraded content that you be seeing would be possible. Over on the Patreon, you get exclusive sneak peeks at upcoming videos. You also get access to the Patreon only Discord server. Coming up soon, I'm going to be working on talking about other anime that I can't talk about here on YouTube, like say ReZero, Konosuba, and etc. I'm also going to start posting the scripts for video essays, and every 3 months we do an anime and manga haul. We also are going to open up the Patreon only Discord server to YouTube members at the $2 price tier, which also means that members will be seeing their name here alongside the patron. But with that being said, let's get back into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another review for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, episode 267. And now that episode 267 is done in the books, man, we got a lot to talk about. So first and foremost, I already ate crow with one of my patrons, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it here on the channel as well. If you predicted that they were going to do a complete Academy rewrite where they're paying homage to the first arc through and through, beat for beat, you are a great prognosticator. I said there's no way they're gonna make Hana the villain of this arc and basically do it as a complete rehash of what happened with Sumire. Lo and behold, it looks like that's what's happened, because Hana is the same build and height as the ninja that is underneath that mask and cloak that Kawaki fought at the end of the episode. So if this ends up where it's similar to Boruto episode 13, where you have Sakuga in the episode and the episode itself ends up being very well animated like episode 13, I'll be fine with it. I just better be seeing Kawaki heavily restrained the same way that Mitsuki was in his fight with Sumire. But with that being said though, if you called this, you're a great prognosticator. So backing things up a little bit and looking at the episode itself, I like the fact that this is one of those episodes that didn't try and take itself too seriously, and it's because the characters, they're putting on a stage play for the Legendary Sannin, and they're discussing some of the deeper themes that are centering around Orochimaru leaving the village. And there's just a few things in here where at first I was like, the historical accuracy isn't 100%, because what Naruto's manga initially did was it had Orochimaru leave the village immediately after Minato became Hokage, but Naruto's manga later on did a retcon during the war arc where it was actually revealed that sometime afterwards, a great deal of time had passed since Minato had actually died when Orochimaru did leave the village. Well, the thing I'll say about this is that I'm not going to get too hung up on it, simply for the fact that this looks like it's a stage play that's not going to be 100% historically accurate. Very similar to how, like, say, like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Age of Ultron movie isn't like the comics. The same thing when you get to the Infinity War movie, it's not like the comics. There's some things that overlap, but there are some liberties taken to basically dumb it down to make it easier for the general audience. I kind of think that's what they're going to do with the stage play. So I'm not super excited about that aspect of it right there, but I understand the whole decision to do that. But backing things up a little bit, let's get into the recap portion of the episode, because despite the fact that this is done by a studio I'm not a big fan of, I believe the Studio Mouse was the one that did the animation, there were actually some aspects of the episode where there was good writing here. It's actually buried underneath some of the kiddie stuff that happens in the episode. Was god damn it, we're back in the academy. Still can't believe this. So one final thing I would say is that there were a couple times in the episode where the animation was stiff. I know some of you guys don't like it when I get into stuff like the principles of animation, etc., because it seems like I'm nitpicking. I'm not here to do a recap, I'm here to do a review. While you did have some moments in the episode where there was some fluidity and you can tell that they're playing with some new filters and with some of the art, I think the art for the most part was fine. Some of the shading was well done. It's just that when it came to animation, there were some stiff moments that really took me out as a viewer. In my opinion, a big part of what carries this episode is the writing of the episode itself. It was a fun little episode to watch. I don't think the animation becomes a problem per se, unless you know specifically what to look for, or unless you've been spoiled by some of the newer series that come out that are just packed with Sakuga. But you can definitely tell that this is going to be one of those episodes that they go back and they fix it for the home media release. I think that what you're going to see on the Blu-ray is going to be different than what you see on the TV broadcast. Not necessarily a full reanimation of the whole episode, that's too expensive, but you're going to see more touch-ups. which is usually commonplace in industry practice. So let's back things up a little bit and get into the recap portion of the review. I like how after we see the different characters in their costumes, you have this moment where Eiki, the kid from the Fuma clan, is basically getting jealous of Kawaki all over again. And the way the episode plays itself out is it makes you think that the kid from the Fuma clan overheard Kawaki and Himawari talking when Kawaki tried to give Himawari his real ninja headband, when in reality what ends up happening is that somebody actually tips him off. So somebody in the academy knows that Kawaki is a real ninja. And the way that they handle this is they play it up like the kid from the Fuma clan is going to be working with the reporter in the classroom in order to expose Kawaki, just the same way that she exposed him for running around reading Jiraiya's makeout tactics because he was trying to get in character for Jiraiya, or so he says. But what this ends up doing is it leads to the first part of this episode where there's good writing. So when you have Kawaki and Kai meeting immediately afterwards in Kai's secret hiding spot on top of the rooftop of the academy, you have this moment where she says that I can't understand why Orochimaru would just abandon his friends. What could cause somebody to do that? You know, your friends are very important to you. Your typical shonen cliche cookie cutter writing. However, when she says, I wish I can continue to experience this life that I'm feeling with everybody at the academy, and Kawaki says, I'm here with you, so for now, isn't it okay to just live in the moment? If you read the manga, and I don't want to go into spoilers, but if you read the manga, you know exactly how that's kind of setting things up for some stuff that happens with Kawaki in the Code arc, where Kawaki is in the same situation as Kai. I think that that's actually a good setup right there. It's kind of putting a little bit of information into the back of the minds for Academy, for anime only fans. I thought that was nice to see that right there. And Kawaki's line about living in the moment, I thought that was an actually mature line. I thought, again, because it's buried underneath the goofy nature of this academy centric episode, that might be a line that's in danger of getting kind of passed over. But essentially, when Kawaki notices that Kai is out of the way, he calls out the kid from the Fuma clan saying, if you don't get your ass down here, I'm gonna whoop your ass next time. And it's because Eiki was hiding as a fake bush and Kawaki already clocked him. So I like seeing that little bit right there because it just shows like Kawaki, you can tell he's getting very annoyed with the academy life and some of the antics, and it's almost like Kawaki is a little bit of a meta for us as viewers, because it's like we just got done with all this stuff with the Otsutsuki clan, with the Ishiki stuff, and now we're right back here in the academy, and it's just like, wow. So I kind of feel like Kawaki was a little bit of a meta there. But what I also like though is that when that reporter chick with the red hair shows up and she tries to get Kawaki to admit to being a actual ninja inside the school, Kawaki and Himawari, they kind of run off, and it shifts over to where they're doing their rehearsals in the stage play and everything. And that's when we find out that the kid from the Fuma clan has changed his outfit. He's now going to be Orochimaru's summoning, and you have this skirmish that's on stage, which leads to Osuka, who's playing the character of Orochimaru, to suddenly start improvising. And unbeknownst to us at the time, she's actually snatching Kawaki's real ninja headband and switching it out with one of the fake headbands. And the reason why she does this is that she overheard the kid from the Fuma clan and the other girl that does the reporting for the classroom talking about a way they're trying to expose Kawaki. And so even though that episode's titled Kawaki's Cover's Blown, it doesn't necessarily get blown in the way that you think it will. It's just that Osuka was able to actually put two and two together, and she begins blushing when Kawaki confronts her about it later on in the episode. And what Kawaki doesn't notice is that, like, when she's blushing, like, I don't think it's just because Kawaki saved her. I think Kawaki has a little bit of a harem going on right here. Like, Kawaki and Kai, kindred spirits, but then you also have Osuka there. It looks like she's getting a little bit soft with Kawaki right here. Our boy's very quietly becoming the Asta of the Boruto anime. Now, the other thing I will say too, though, is that when Kawaki and the kid from the Fuma clan mix it up again, it's very brief. It's in character. It's like basically you have summoning characters going at it. But when the kid from the Fuma clan jumps up on the stage and he has Kawaki's seemingly real headband, the stage itself begins to collapse, and this kid breaks down crying afterwards, and he shows himself to be a total pussy. But again, this 11-year-old kid, you know, you just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But what I like here, though, is that Himawari walks up to Kawaki, hits him in the ribs, and says, like, hey, you low-key made this mess, you're the one that's got to clean it up. And Kawaki and the kid from the Fuma clan, they share a moment where Kawaki offers his hand to help him up, and Kai is the one that goes over and helps pick up the kid from the Fuma clan. He's crying, he's apologizing. They start working to fix the stage. The whole time they're doing this, Kawaki's looking for his real headband. That's when Osuka later on in the night shows up and she gives him the headband. And as they begin to walk out the academy, that's when Kawaki notices that Kai isn't with them. And we saw earlier in the episode that the moment that she leaves out the academy, one of the Jonin that's watching over her usually alerts Kawaki in some type of way, shape, form, or fashion. So the fact that Kawaki didn't get an alert, he put 2 and 2 together, realized that something was wrong with her, and then that's when we jump over to some type of emissaries that are inside the village as well. And they talk about how Konoha's not going to see what's coming, and we find out that they already have their assassin inside the village. And then that's when the episode jumps over and you see Kawaki and he's going into the hospital. You see the assassin in there wearing a mask and a cloak and etc. Kawaki throws a kunai at him, and it's a little bit of a homage to what you saw in Naruto Part 1, where when Kakashi realized that Orochimaru was going to end up making a play on Sasuke, he goes to check on him inside the hospital, and that's when Kakashi and Kabuto have their moment where they mix it up and Kabuto ends up escaping. It's the same thing here with Kawaki and this assassin. It's a very brief skirmish. The assassin ends up leaving out through the window and Kawaki is left to his thoughts and devices saying, wow, somebody's actually trying to assassinate her. But I think the big thing on this is that the initial thoughts that myself and a few others had, that Batora might actually be the person that was trying to assassinate Kai, it doesn't look like that's 100% right. It looks like it was gonna be Hana, which that's an interesting choice. It doesn't just say I gave him or I gave her the orders. It's I gave them the orders. So either you got a situation where you got multiple people working together, which shouldn't seem like it's crazy, or this is another instance where the official subtitles actually screwed things up, which this wouldn't be the first time that this has happened when it came to the Japanese to English translation. So I think this might be a moment where both things end up being true. Batora might end up being dirty and Hanakaka might actually be dirty as well. But overall, this was okay. There were a few moments in the episode where the shading was fine, but this looks like Studio Mouse. I'm not 100% certain this is a Studio Mouse production, but this looks like Studio Mouse, and they're hit or miss. I mean, this episode, for me, for what it was, between the Academy vibe to it and everything, I think that the writing for this, that's passable. The enjoyment factor is there. The art is there. The animation is just stiff, man. That takes an episode that could have been like a strong 7 or a weak 8, and it kind of brings it down to a 6 for me. So still a little above average, 5 being average, but you can see like this had potential, and I'm not sure if like production fell apart or if there was a time constraint issue. But this one, this is gonna be one of those episodes I think they might spend a little bit more time doing corrections on for the home media release. But my episode question to you guys is, how do you feel about the fact that this Academy arc is playing homage to what you saw in the first Academy arc with Boruto, to the point where the person that is the meek and stumbling over the words and act like she's scared of her own shadow is actually the villain? How do you feel about that potentially being the case? While you think that over, consider watching these other videos you see on the screen right now.